everyone, welcome back to another Haolonggood review. Today we take a look at the newest addition to the ever-growing Ceratopsian lineup, their Diabloceratops. These figures retail for $16.99 each. I end up ordering mine off AliExpress. I'll leave the link down below in the description if you want to pick these up for yourself. Haolonggood, picking up where Safari Limited left off, especially when it comes to Ceratopsians. Safari had a wonderful lineup of different Ceratopsian species, and a lot of those are now retired now, but it's nice to see Haolonggood continue the trend of giving us multiple species of Ceratopsians. Let's take a quick look at the packaging. Seems like Haolonggood fixed the weird contrast tint issue with pictures of their figures on their last couple releases. These actually look exactly like the figures themselves. And then along the top of the box, they smartly chose to showcase all their different Ceratopsian species just to entice you to buy a few more to go with these Diabloceratops. Taking a look at the actual figures themselves, there are two versions, a yellow and gray version. Both are exactly the same mold. They're both sculpted in a nice charge and pose with their heads lowered. And of the two, I prefer the gray one over the yellow one. I think the gray one just looks absolutely fantastic, especially with the blue highlights on the frill. And these are pretty small figures, which means it's time for measurements. These figures are 4.5 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, or 11.4 centimeters. And about 2.5 inches tall to the top of the frill, or 6.3 centimeters. So Diabloceratops in real life was around 15 feet long, or 4.5 meters. So I'll put these figures in the 140 scale range, not the advertised 135 scale range. So they're just a hair bit too small, but I'm okay with that. Now let's take a look at the gray version, my favorite out of the two. This figure just turned out absolutely phenomenal. This might be one of their best Ceratopsians to date, and they've been really, really good with their Ceratopsian figures. You have this nice like blush of purple and pink along the side of the head. Eye is done in yellow with a black pupil along the frill. You have all these nice bright blue highlights, really contrast nicely with the light gray of the body. The underside is a nice cream coat, and looking at the figure from the front, you can see the head shape is pretty much spot on. Diabloceratops did not have a very wide frill. However, I did notice there's some flashing on the spikes on top of the frill, and they are just a little bit bent. They are made out of a very soft, flexible material, so some warping is probably expected with that type of material. Going down to the front legs, nicely done. They have the correct number of toes, and same thing with the black legs. The back legs, the toe claws have some nice black paint on them, and then for the main body, just that light gray with those dark black markings really make this figure look quite nice. And let's just do a quick dinosaur bum check. So yeah, all around the gray one, absolutely stellar looking figure. Moving on to the yellow version, a nice natural color scheme just before the gray one, just a little bit more. As you can see on mine, the left brow horn and one of the horns on the top of the frill are very warped. It's a very soft, flexible material, and these are pretty thin sculpts, so they are prone to warping. Going down to the head, you can see a nice blush of pink along the side of the head. The frill is done in nice bright blue. Going down to the front legs, I did not notice this on the gray version, but those two toes along the side should not be painted. Just the first three should be painted, so that's going to bother some of the accuracy freaks out there. And then going down the hind legs, the four toes are painted in nice black paint. You have this nice, sandy yellow color for the body with all these nice black stripes and blotches mixed in. Very nice and natural looking. You do have a little bit of like a maroon blushing color at the end of each feet, and nice cream coat for the underside of the body. So all around, the yellow version, both of them are great. These are really nicely done figures. Those two claws being painted might bother a few people, but it's really not that big of a deal to me. Moving on with comparisons, here it is with Collecte's 140 scale human. Diabloceratops is quite the popular Ceratopsians. There have been a lot of figures from a lot of companies over the years. Schleich actually did one, and Collecte. Unfortunately, I don't own those two versions. But pictured here, we have the Mattel version, Beast of the Mesozoic with the baby, and Safari Limited. Safari's Limited is excellent. Unfortunately, that figure is retired. So if you're trying to track down an accurate, 135, 140 scale Diablo, definitely go with Haolonggood's. Haolonggood has made quite a few Ceratopsian species over the last year or so. This is just a few of them. This is not even all of them pictured. They are definitely filling the void left by Safari. For whatever reason, Safari has retired almost all their Ceratopsians, and there's been really no new ones over the last few years, which is a shame because there's so many different Ceratopsian species that need to be made. Haolonggood's first Ceratopsian was their amazing Pentaceratops, which I still absolutely love. We got their Pachyrhinosaurus, Chasmosaurus, and Cosmoceratops. The last two, they're pretty small figures, but the Diabloceratops are just a little bit smaller, which makes these some of the smallest Haolonggood figures made so far, minus the baby Myosaurs. Next up, we have PNSO's Lithronax. Lithronax was a tyrannosaur that shared its environment with Diabloceratops. They're both from the Wahweap Formation of the late Cretaceous of Utah. And lastly, here's a group shot of the last few Haolonggood releases. Their excellent-looking Myosaur, amazing Stegosaurus ungulatus, Gastonia, and Yaplocephalus. So, final thoughts on Haolonggood's Diabloceratops. I think they did an excellent job on them. They've continually excelled at their Ceratopsians. The scale's not quite 135, it's around 140, but it's really not a deal breaker for most collectors. Both paint schemes are really nice and natural. Like I said, the gray one is my preferred of the two. Really, the only issue with it is just those two toe claws painted on the front feet. They shouldn't be painted in. Other than that, I think these are two really, really good figures. Yeah, they're prone to a little bit of warping on their horns. That's just due to the materials that they're made of, but these are definitely among the smaller figures Haolonggood has produced so far, and it gives me hopes that they can excel at doing some other smaller species. And like I said at the beginning of the review, I ended up getting both these figures off AliExpress. Link is down below in the description. So that will do it for the review. Actually just got in the PNSO Tyrannotitan in the other day, so that review should be on the channel sometime early this week. So stay tuned for that. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys for the next one.